الحمد
نعم
لله
يا شيخنا.
ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. In continuation of our book Al-Adab Al-Mufrad by Al-Imām Abdur-Raūf Muhammad ibn Ismā'īl Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri, we just ended the chapter about Ash-Shaykh, greed and stinginess that has to do with being covetous of the wealth of others. But today, bismillah, we will be looking at Babu Husn al-Khuluq إذا فقهوا. Babu Husn al-Khuluq إذا فقهوا. The chapter about Husn al-Khuluq. Husn al-Khuluq is good character. But this time, because we had addressed the chapter about Husn al-Khuluq in the previous class, Hadith 270 comes under Babu Husn al-Khuluq or Babu Husn al-Khulqi. It comes under this chapter, the chapter about good character, the chapter about being mannerly. But here we are talking about the chapter about being mannerly, being of good conduct. إذا فقهوا, when the individual becomes a learned person. إذا صار فقيها عالما, when the individual becomes learned, when he becomes ascribed to knowledge, the need to be of good character becomes more impending. The first chapter is with regards to the generality of the Muslim. The Muslim has a duty as a Muslim, ordinary Muslim, amongst the rank and file of the generality of the Muslims. He has a duty to perfect his character. When he now begins to pay attention to knowledge, he now begins to study the Quran, he now begins to study the Sunnah, he now begins to study the explanations of the companions radiallahu anhum and their students regarding these two major sources of Islam. And then Allah blesses him with a good part of it that will still be considered small. Because no matter how learned a person is, his knowledge is still small. Because the entirety of humankind, we are given just small knowledge. Allah says, وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. We have not given all of you human beings. We have not given you knowledge. We have not provided from you or for you from knowledge, except little. If the entirety of humankind only have little knowledge, what will the individuals, the units of human beings, what quantity of knowledge will they have? It will certainly be small. But as small is, when Allah bless the individual with his sound understanding of the Quran, Allah blesses him with his sound knowledge of Sunnah, Allah blesses him with good understanding of what has been reported about the meaning of the Quran and the meaning of the Sunnah, and some sort of being knowledgeable is ascribed to that individual. He has been blessed with the knowledge of verifying even what has been ascribed to the companions and the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. One of the scholars, Al-Imām Ibn Rajab Al-Hanbali, in Bayanu Qawli Ilm Salaf ala Ilm Khalaf, he said when a person becomes knowledgeable about the Quran and he becomes knowledgeable about the Sunnah, he becomes knowledgeable about what has been reported from the companions and their students, ignorant about how to verify the authenticity of these transmissions is still considered from among those without knowledge. So when a person becomes knowledgeable, well-grounded upon the Sunnah, upon the knowledge of the Quran, and what has been reported from the companions about this deen, and these are the major sources of our deen, Islam, it becomes more incumbent upon him. It becomes more incumbent upon such an individual to learn and become a person of nice character. So that is the difference between this chapter, Babu Husn al-Khuluqi idha faqahu, and the fourth chapter regarding Husn al-Khuluq. He said, Babu Husn al-Khuluq. The first one is about the generality of the people, learned or not learned. But this chapter is to specifically emphasize the need for the learned person to be a person of good character, to be a person of good manners, a person, student of knowledge. Quite unfortunately, it is these claims of students of knowledge that makes some of the people to become arrogant, and to make some of the people to look down upon the rest of the people. Allah protects us. So someone learning Islam, someone teaching Islam, that becomes a person Allah blesses with the knowledge of the Quran, Sunnah, and the Afkar that have been reported regarding the Quran and the Sunnah, and Allah blesses him with the ability to verify the authenticity of these. Such a person has a bigger need to be upon nice character, to be upon nice lines of conduct. And that's why the head of the scholars in our deen, the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, he has been described with nice character when Allah said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Certainly, O Muhammad, you are upon a high pedestal in terms of akhlaq, in terms of manners. So the higher a person becomes in his knowledge, the more incumbent it becomes on him to be of a good character. Now, what are the reports that have been mentioned regarding this? Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri has mentioned them under this chapter, Babu Husn al-Khuluq idha faqahu, the chapter about being of nice character when a person finally becomes ascribed knowledge. And that hadith will come, first hadith will come under hadith 284, when he said, Rahimahullah, حدثنا علي بن عبد الله قال حدثنا الفضيل بن سليمان الجميري عن صالح بن خوات بن جبير عن محمد بن يحيى بن حبان عن أبي صالح عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن الرجل لا يدرك بحسن الخلق أو إن الرجل لا يدرك بحسن خلقه درجة القائم بالليل. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن الرجل لا يدرك بحسن خلقه درجة القائم بالليل. إن الرجل لا يدرك بحسن خلقه درجة القائم بالليل. Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri reported this hadith from one of the biggest scholars he ever took knowledge from. That was Al-Imām Ali ibn Abdullah ibn al-Madini. It is Al-Imām Ali ibn Abdullah ibn al-Madini Abu al-Hasan rahimahullah. It is that scholar regarding whom Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri will say rahimahullah, ما استصغرت نفسي إلا عند علي ibn al-Madini. ما استصغرت نفسي. I will not consider myself small. I will not put myself down regarding knowledge, except when I see it in front of Ali ibn al-Madini. also Al-Imām Ali ibn al-Madini was from amongst the colleagues, from amongst the mates and friends and companions of Al-Imām Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah. For this hadith, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri took it from him, so he said, حدثنا علي بن عبد الله، that Ali ibn Abdullah ibn al-Madini rahimahullah. He said, حدثنا الزبير سليمان النميري الزبير ibn Sulaiman al-Numayri, that is the Imam Abu Sulaiman al-Zubayr ibn Sulaiman al-Numayri, Abu Sulaiman. He said, I'm Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Zubayr. Salih ibn Khawwat, his father's name is Khawwat ibn Salih, and the father of Khawwat ibn Salih, his name is Salih ibn Khawwat, and their great grandfather was Jubayr. So he is Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Jubayr. Salih was a learned person. Khawwat, his father, was a learned person. Salih, the grandfather of Salih, was a learned person. Khawwat, the great grandfather of Salih, was a learned person. And likewise, the great grandfather of the Jubayr. So we have a chain of children and parents who were from among the learned people in this religion. So Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Jubayr. Another point of benefit we take from that is that Salih ibn Khawwat was repeating that Khawwat, the son of Jubayr, he named his son Salih. Salih, the son of Khawwat, named his son Khawwat, meaning that a man may name his father, a man may name his son by the name of his father. A man may name his son by the name of his father, and the son of that may name his own son by the name of the father. And this is what we have seen. So if your name is Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman, you can name your son Abdur-Rahman. So your son will be Abdur-Rahman ibn Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman, and so on. We have many examples of this in the history of Islam, that a father will name his son by the name of his own father. And that was also mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ when Ibrāhīm was given back to Prophet. He says, فَنَّيْتُهُ بِاسْمِ أَبِي. فَنَّيْتُهُ بِاسْمِ أَبِي could also mean that he is his father. Linguistically, it includes it. فَنَّيْتُهُ بِاسْمِ أَبِي, meaning that I have named this son of mine, Ibrāhīm, by the name of my father. I am saying this because in some of the cultures, they consider it a taboo that you give your child the name of your father and call that boy by that name or that girl by that name if it happens to be the name of his mother. Some of the people consider this obnoxious. They consider it a taboo. And so when it happens, they call the little young boy Junior instead of referring to him by his name. So we have seen in this Islam, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri has reported the hadith, and from among those in the chain of report of that hadith was Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Jubayr. Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Jubayr. We understand that that is lawful in our religion. Salih ibn Khawwat ibn Salih ibn Khawwat is reported from Muhammad ibn Yahya ibn Hibban. Muhammad ibn Yahya ibn Hibban is Abu Abdullah al-Faqih, who is well-known scholar of fiqh, and is one reported from the well-known student of Abu Hurairah, Abu Salih, the Quran, the man. Remember that Abu Salih is the Quran of the man, like Salih ibn Khawwat, who has come from the family of knowledge. Abu Salih also has children, all of whom became very well-learned scholars in Islam. He had about 5 children, from amongst whom was Salih, from amongst whom was Suhaib. Remember, it is Suhaib and the Salih, and so on. He had 5 boys, and all the 5 of these boys were from amongst the Salaf of Islam. And as for their father, Zakwan himself, a man, he was from amongst the students of the eminent companion of the Prophet Muhammad, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. So in this hadith, Abu Hurairah said radiallahu anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن الرجل لا يدرك بحسن خلقه درجة القائم بالليل. إن الرجل لا يدرك بحسن خلقه درجة القائم بالليل. إن الرجل actually an individual لا يدرك بحسن خلقه, he would attain because of his good character. An individual who has a good character would attain because of that character درجة القائم بالليل, the level, the status, the rank of Al-Qa'im bil-Layl. Al-Qa'im bil-Layl is a person who regularly observes Qiyamul Layl. What is Qiyamul Layl? The prayer we observe in the night. The time for Qiyamul Layl is between Salatul Isha, from after Salatul Isha, up and on up to shortly before in Tulu al-Fajr or at Tulu al-Fajr itself. So Qiyamul Layl, the time for Qiyamul Layl is very expensive. It starts from after Salatul Isha and it ends at Tulu al-Fajr, when the Fajr emerges. That is the end time for Salatul Layl or Qiyamul Layl or Taraweeh, as we have learned in Ramadan. When an individual becomes regular with observing Nawafil and Salah al-Nabi and all of these night worship during the night, it is generally referred to as Al-Qa'im bil-Layl. Observing Qiyamul Layl is one of the symbols of the people of Al-Taqwa. Allah said to us that إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي جَنَّاتٍ وَعُيُونٍ. In that Surah Al-Zariyat, Allah said إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي جَنَّاتٍ وَعُيُونٍ. The people of Taqwa, فِي جَنَّاتٍ وَعُيُونٍ, they will certainly be. He mentions it as something that has already happened by way of emphasis and making us understand that it is something that shall happen easily. He said, إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ, certainly the people of Taqwa, فِي جَنَّاتٍ وَعُيُونٍ, they will be in gardens and they will be in places where we will have fountains in Allah. Allah says, آخِرِينَ مَا آتَاهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ. These people will be making benefits from the things from which Allah would favor them. It says, إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَبْلَ ذَلِكَ مُحْسِنِينَ. When they were on the surface of the earth before we placed them into Al-Jannah, كَانُوا مُحْسِنِينَ. They were people of peace. They were people who perfected worship. They were people who perfected belief in Allah. And from amongst the things that they used to do, Allah said, كَانُوا قَلِيلًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ مَا يَهْجَعُونَ. These people of Al-Jannah, قَلِيلًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ مَا يَهْجَعُونَ, يعني مَا يَنَامُونَ. They always slept a little time during the night, meaning that they kept the bulk of the night of their Qiyam. They kept the bulk of their night observing the Qiyam. This makes us understand that Al-Qa'im bil-Layl occupies a high rank before Allah. This stuff makes us understand that Al-Qa'im bil-Layl, the one who regularly stands up to the midnight to observe Salah, as we have described, is a person of high rank before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Elsewhere in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about these people. He says, تَتَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ يدعون ربهم خوفا وطمعا ومما رزقناهم ينفقون فلا تعلم نفس ما أخفي لهم من قرة أعين جزاء بما كانوا يعملون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned these people who are regular with Qiyam al-Layl. He says that تَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ. They keep their sides away from their beds, from their places of sleep. They keep their sides away from their places of sleep. يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ, and they become busy with invoking and begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala خوفا out of fear for Allah, or and hope in His favor and blessing. They fear His punishment, and they hope in His favor and in His blessing. Allah says, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. These people also become busy spending from what Allah has blessed them. Allah says, فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُمْ من قرة أعين جزاء بما كانوا يعملون. No one will know from the exact level of goodness in Al-Jannah in terms of the things of Al-Jannah, including those women, things that you will see and be very glad, the things of goodness that Allah will bestow upon the men, the things of goodness that Allah will bestow upon the women inside Al-Jannah. Allah says, Allah ta'alamu nafsu. No soul is able to exactly estimate these things that I have preserved for them in Al-Jannah. So you will see in these verses of the Quran how Allah connects Al-Jannah with Al-Qa'im al-Layl. How Allah connects the delight of Al-Jannah with the one who is regular with the night prayers. That's why the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Sharaful Mu'min Qiyamul Layl. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Sharaful Mu'min Qiyamul Layl. The honor of the Muslim, the respect of the Muslim, the value of the Muslim is Qiyamul Layl. Unfortunately, in our own times, many of our brothers, many of our sisters, despite the claims of students of knowledge here and there, they become so busy with other things at the early part of the night, and they become prevented from being able to stand up in Qiyamul Layl. We are now seeing that the ulama of Islam, they consider standing up for Qiyamul Layl as from the symbols of the students who partake in the knowledge of Islam. From the major symbols of the student learning Islam, from the major indices to recognize that true students learning Islam and practicing Islam is that he never leaves Qiyamul Layl, because that is the level, that is his thing of honor between himself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can go on and on trying to explain the high rank, the high level, the high status of Al-Qa'im bil-Layl. But in all of these, the student is a lazy student. He finds it hard to stand for Qiyamul Layl. Then when he is good in his character, he is able to reach this high rank of Al-Qa'im bil-Layl. So the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, Inna rajul لا يدرك بحسن خلقه درجة القائم بالليل. The individual may, for his sound line of conduct, because of his good character, because of his noble qualities, noble traits, beautiful, eminent character, he may become the person who achieves that high rank of Al-Qa'im bil-Layl. One of the major points of benefit here is that Al-Qiyam, standing up in the middle of the night, is a very, very high rank in worship. And it is higher in rank than his character. In fact, it is one of the ways to attain good character. if a person is blessed with the ability to stand up in the midnight of Salah, the high-ranking worship before Allah, its rewards are huge. Likewise, the rewards of good character are also huge. And if a person keeps to nice, sound, good, noble character, he will get to the level of the person who stands up for Qiyamul Layl. But unfortunately, how about when the person is lazy with Qiyamul Layl and bad in his character? Student of knowledge. Lazy with Qiyamul Layl, bad in his character. He comes out in the afternoon to shout Qiyamul Layl, to shout to students of knowledge. He comes out on the Facebook, on the social media to brag students of knowledge. Poor in his character. Failure in his Qiyamul Layl. Allah protects us. And Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri has placed this under his hadith, under the chapter about the importance for the one that Allah has blessed with knowledge to be of sound character. So how do we, what's the symbol of your knowledge? Student of knowledge. What's the value of your student of knowledge? No Qiyamul Layl, bad in your character. May Allah protect each and every one of us. The one who is the head of all the students, who is the head of all everybody. The Messenger alayhi salam, one of his major aspects of worship, even before Salah, comes to Salawat became obligatory. He had been commanded to keep Qiyamul Layl. Ya ayyuhal muzammil, qumi layla illa qalila, nisfahu aw yanqus minhu qalila. أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. Your students of knowledge is to sleep from Isha to Fajr, or to keep awake until 12 a.m. And then you say you want to rest and wake up after Salah to Fajr. Students of knowledge. May Allah protect each and every one of us. So we all have a duty to cultivate the habit to wake up for Qiyamul Layl and observe the Qiyamul Layl properly. And then we have that duty to all mend our characters. But the duty to mend the character is more incumbent on the students of knowledge and the scholars. The scholars should not be found wanting. When anyone has a deficiency in his character, please try to fix it. You start, Shaykh, Fadila to Shaykh, fix your character. Fix your ways. Yes, as a human being you have that deficiency. You have the character deficit, like everyone has. But the duty upon you, because of you are a carrier of the knowledge of the Prophet Muhammad. You are a benefactor of that huge benefit. Huge benefit that Allah has benefited you in the knowledge of Islam. So if others are found wanting and can be given excuses of ignorance, what excuse will we give you when you are in knowledge of Islam? So be careful in your character. From the things we must see in the person of knowledge is a being a honest person, be honest. From the things we must see with you is at-tawadhu, be humble. From the things we must find with you is being al-jirani, be easy, be a person that we can relate with easily. From the things we must find with you is sakhawatinah, be a person who has a free, great mind. You are easy. You give off easily. And from that, to have al-ab. You always overlook the faults of people. Or this one has a fault you overlook. The ulama will say that at-tagaful min al-hikmah. Behaving as if you didn't even see the faults of the person is from the aspect of wisdom. So, oh scholar, oh talib al-ilm, oh ustad, oh sheikh, don't let it end at sheikh. Correct your character deficit. Adjust, because you have a greater duty to show to the people that character of our deen that is inside the knowledge that Allah has blessed you with. Don't behave like a jahil, a learned person behaving like a jahil. Don't. So if you have faults, and all of us have faults, I personally have my own faults. So as I say to you to correct our character deficit, I'm also saying it to myself. May Allah rectify each and every one of us. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, إِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَا يُدْرِكُ بِحُسْنِ خُلُقِهِ دَرَجَةَ الْقَائِمِ بِاللَّيْلِ. The individual who perfects his character, becomes a person of good lines of conduct. La yudrik ذلك, he would perhaps, because of that, attain the level of al-Qa'im billayl. He will attain the level of the one who stands up in the midnight to observe Salah. Let us also adjust ourselves. Many brothers don't observe Qiyamul Layl. They sleep from Isha to Fajr, or they get to see social media up to the time of Qiyamul Layl. They deceive themselves and say, let me just sleep a bit. By the time they know it is off, so it is already after Salah to Fajr. May Allah protect us. So that is Hadith 284. I think that it is clear. We can go to Hadith 285. Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri said, rahimahullah, حدثنا حجاج بن المنهال قال حدثنا حماد بن سلمة عن محمد بن زياد قال سمعت أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه يقول سمعت أبا القاسم يقول خيركم إسلاما أحسنكم أخلاقا إذا فقهوا. خيركم إسلاما أحسنكم أخلاقا إذا فقهوا. الإمام البخاري said رحمه الله حدثنا حجاج بن منهال. الإمام حجاج بن منهال Abu Muhammad At-Tamimi Al-Dharir was also from amongst the eminent ones amongst the teachers of Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah. Al-Imām Hajjaj ibn Minhal, Abu Muhammad At-Tamimi rahimahullah. He says, حدثنا حماد بن سلمة ibn Dinar al-Kufi rahimahullah. Hamad ibn Salama was from amongst the biggest scholars of Islam in his generation, from amongst the people who were firm upon the Sunnah. Hamad ibn Salama, rahimahullah, he used to have one of his teachers, Thabit al-Bunani, from amongst the most reliable people who reported a hadith from Anas Malik, rahimahullah. Hamad ibn Salama, rahimahullah, said, عن محمد بن زياد. محمد بن سلمة reports from محمد بن زياد أبو محمد بن زياد أبو عبد الله المدني, and he is reporting from Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه who said سمعت أبا القاسم يقول, I heard Abu al-Qasim saying. This is evidence that he can refer to the Ibrāhīm in his kunya. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu was a major friend of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu. Yes, he came late, about 3 years before the demise of the Messenger alayhi salatu. But he learned a lot within those 3 years from the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu. And here, instead of saying like he said in Hadith 274, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, here he said to me to Abdur-Raūf, Fadila to Shaykh, your students can refer to you as Abdullah if you are Abdullah. Don't say put you start. Don't say put Shaykh first. Don't say that. Here Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, the messenger is more beloved to them than your ustad is beloved to you. So your students can say Abdullah if you are يكون يتوجه فهو دين. Abu Hurairah, the companions used to refer to the messenger of Allah, especially behind. You see Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu saying that the nature of Allah, I heard Abdur-Raūf, who was referring to Rasulullah, the nature of Abdur-Raūf sallallahu alayhi wa sallam يقول, I heard Abdur-Raūf saying, خيركم إسلاما, the best of you in his deen Islam, the best of you who has or who best submits in his deen, the best of us in his deen, أحسنكم أخلاقا, is the best of us in his character. Meaning that the major indicator of the correctness and soundness and the higher rank of the regime how noble it is in his character. When his character is bad, that is a red flag for the day. When his character is good, that is a white or green flag for the skin. It is found that his character is bad. Character is bad. You are the one saying that all even in Salafi, man has value Sunnah Jama'ah. Then you become a person who eats them good for the people, before them and behind them. That's part of Manhaj Salafi to go. Salafi. Because these days, many of our younger brothers hide under this issue of I'm upon Manhaj to become part of the pleasure of people. I hope that they are able to go back to a book like this is this. The defeat of Shaitan that was originally offered by Al-Imām Abdur-Raūf regarding, and he has a whole chapter in that. When people claim they are upon the deen and sunnah, I'm talking about Ibn Jawzi's work now. Go and read it. Go back to Talbis Iblis. Ibn Jawzi rahimahullah said, from the things by which Iblis, Shaitan, deceives the people, he will make them feel that they are discussing Al-Jaf wa Ta'jib. But what they are doing is Al-Jiba wa Ta'jib, by which they destroy their idea. Go back to this is this. And I don't think people pay attention to books like this. What are the traps of Shaitan for you? Soluble in Salafi. You think Shaitan left you? If you think that Shaitan has left you, you're already existing under the absence of the Shaitan. The soluble is you are the one Shaitan wants to capture. So if you think being a soluble is being a Salafi, you want to establish manhaj, it has manhaj. Establishing the manhaj itself has manhaj. It has dawab. It has adab. Learn those things first before you begin to backbite and slander the people. You'll come up in the purpose to say soluble is your common has the and even the rules, the guidelines that guide what you think you want to do are things that are far from your knowledge. Go back to them. I have joined with every one of us. Please go back to Talbis Iblis under the chapter about how the Shaitan deceives those who think that they are upon Al-Jaf wa Ta'jib. One of the major things that Imam said of Rahimahullah is that many people become engaged in slander and backbiting in the name of Al-Jaf wa Ta'jib. And we know how to recognize all of that. One of the scholars in our own time who has said this also was Shaykh Al-Adab. He also said many of the people become very busy with slandering the people they say they are for Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. Allah is the teacher of everyone. When we know you as a slanderer, when you know you are a backbiter, when you know you are not a person of absolute, you are not a person of honesty, you are not a person of humility. No matter how you flout that you are a person of knowledge, no matter how you want us to believe that you are a person of sunnah and salafiyah, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us how to know whether you are a liar or a person of the truth. He said, alayhi salatu wa salam, khayrukum islama, the best of you is being ahasinukum akhlaqa. They are those who are best amongst you in their character. Either you become learned. If you become learned, then you start to of nice character and life, nice lines to conduct. Answer being ahsanina islama. You are from amongst the best of us in his deed. Ta'allamta. You learn. And then fakukta. You became from amongst the people who acquire the knowledge and understanding of this being, and then your character is good, you are from the best of us. If it is yours that way now, my friend, forget about the king. Go and correct your character deficit and stop flaunting students of knowledge. May Allah put such in everyone. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu said, فَنَيْتُ أَبَا الْقَاسِمِ يَقُولُ I heard the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, Abdur-Raūf, saying that خيركم إسلاما, the best of you in this Islam, in this submission in Islam, أحاسنكم أخلاقا إذا فقهوا. They are the best of you in their character when they become learned. Is learned number one, and then his character is nice. When the Muslim has good character or is not from amongst the people of knowledge, he is better than the rest of them. How of course when you become knowledge? You are knowledgeable, then your character is good. Yes, these are the best people. But when you are knowledgeable and the character is bad, please go and correct yourself. Like I say to everyone of them, I am also correcting myself because some of the people can say, oh, you are saying go and correct yourself. How about you? We are all in this together. Let's see everyone correct where the shoe which is with Allah rectifies and everyone. سمعت أبا القاسم يقول خيركم إسلاما أحاسنكم أخلاقا إذا فقهوا. The best of you is the team, and the best of you in the character when they become knowledgeable. We quickly read Hadith 86 in the title 85. In case it is Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri رحمه الله حدثنا عمر بن حفص قال حدثنا أبي قال حدثنا الأعمش قال حدثني ثابت بن زيد قال ما رأيت أحدا أجل إذا جلس مع القوم ولا أشكه في بيته بغير الكفاية. ما رأيت أحدا أجل إذا جلس مع القوم ولا أشكه في بيته بغير الكفاية. Imam Al-Bukhari also wants us to understand how necessary the knowledge is connected to this character. Don't tell me that your character is bad. I'm scholar. Don't say that. I'm scholar, your character is bad. No. Imam Al-Bukhari is just an example in one of the companions of the Prophet. And he started that report from the Shaykh Umar ibn Hafs. So he said, حدثنا Umar ibn Hafs ibn Giyas, Abu Hafs al-Kufi, Umar ibn Hafs. He is Abu Hafs al-Kufi, rahimahullah. He is the child of Hafs ibn Giyas, ibn Hafs ibn Giyas, rahimahullah. And he is actually reporting this hadith of Hafs ibn Giyas. So he said, حدثنا الإمام البخاري said حدثنا عمر بن غياث بن حفص حدثنا عمر بن حفص reported to us قال حدثنا أبي. So Umar ibn Hafs said حدثني أبي, and his father is who? Hafs ibn Ghiyath rahimahumullah. So Hafs ibn Ghiyath said حدثنا الأعمش. Al-A'mash is Al-Imām Sulaiman ibn Mihran rahimahullah, who said حدثني ثابت ibn Ubayd Mawla Zayd ibn Thabit. Thabit ibn Ubayd was one of the three slaves of Zayd ibn Thabit al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu. We know who Zayd was. He was from among the tribes of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. He used to write the Quran for the Muslims. Zayd ibn Thabit radiyallahu anhu. And he was from amongst those that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq appointed to document the Quran and compile it. Radiyallahu anhu. From amongst the very, very learned people in the history of Islam, especially in the sciences of the Quran. Zayd ibn Thabit radiyallahu anhu. His freed slaves say about him, ما رأيت أحدا أجل إذا جلس مع القوم ولا أفكأ في بيته من زيد بن ثابت. ما رأيت أحدا أجل إذا جلس مع القوم. I do not find anybody who is so noble, who is high in his esteem, with a lot of self-respect and respect for him from the people. I've never seen any person Ajalla idha jalasa ma'al-qawm, so noble, so full of respect and self-reverence when he sits to the people. So if you see Zayd ibn Thabit amongst the people, when you look at him related to the people, you see this is a man of respect and esteem. I have not seen a better person. وَلَا أَفْكَهَ فِي بَيْتِهِ. And I have never seen anyone أَفْكَهَ فِي بَيْتِهِ, who is free and open in his house. طالب العلم, Shaykh, please hear this. Some of us students of knowledge don't joke in our house. And the very reason why we don't joke is that we are scholars. What's this? The reason a man doesn't joke or laugh in his house is, hey, we are students of knowledge here. I have heard some of the women say this. Their husbands don't have any time for a joke or a smile. No joke, no laugh, no joke, no play. Hey, we are serious. Because tomorrow is the day of Qiyamah. My friend, from the aspects of the deeds you will take along on the day of Qiyamah are those jokes with your wife. Did you not hear the Prophet ﷺ saying to Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari radiyallahu anhuma that he should marry a young virgin girl to Dahikuka, who will make you laugh and you will make her laugh. Did you not hear that from the messenger? So playing and laughing with your spouse, your wife, my dear student of knowledge, is from the aspect of worship that is required of you. Don't let it be that this claim of student of knowledge is the reason why you don't joke with your wife. It's the reason why you don't play with your children. Place everything in its place. This is the meaning of al-hikmah and as-sunnah. That's why the two of them are used interchangeably. Because the most wise of anything anybody will do is to stick to the sunnah. When you stick to the sunnah, you act and speak wisely. When you don't stick with the sunnah, you will not act and speak wisely. And speaking wisely or acting wisely is to put everything in its place. The only way you can do that is to stick to the sunnah. When you stick to the sunnah, you place everything in its place. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam used to joke with his wife. He used to play with his wife. That's why the lessons the companions took from him is to be people of free. They joke, they laugh, they smile in their homes. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam used to do that. And so his companions used to do that. That's why the free slave of Zayd ibn Thabit ibn Ubayd, Mawla Zayd ibn Thabit, he said, مَا رَأَيْتُ أَحَدًا أَجَلَّ إِذَا جَلَسَ مَعَ الْقَوْمِ. I have not found any person who is very highly respected when you find him amongst the people. So don't say, me that I'm shaking in front of the people. You just know you are laughing with me. Let them laugh with you. That's it. It does not remove anything from your self-esteem and respect. It does not. It is from the sunnah of Messenger. So even at that, you will find Zayd ibn Thabit being from among those who are free. They joke, they play, they make jest, they gist. Even in the night, if they have a gist with your wife, in the afternoon, at the time coming, you do all of that. You play with them, you relate with them honorably. That's the right of the Prophet of Zayd ibn Thabit that inside his house, he's playing, joking. Outside, he's still a person of nobility. Playing and joking at home does not remove your nobility outside. Ash-Shaykh, please. So Sayyid Thabit ibn Ubayd said, مَا رَأَيْتُ أَحَدًا أَجَلَّ إِذَا جَلَسَ مَعَ الْقَوْمِ وَلَا أَفْكَهَ فِي بَيْتِهِ مِنْ Zayd ibn Thabit. I have not seen anyone who, when he sits amongst the people, his nobility stands out. وَلَا أَفْكَهَ فِي بَيْتِهِ. When he is in his home, he stands out in nice things. Afkaha. He makes his family laugh. And he laughs with them. He makes his family joke. He tells jokes. And he jokes with them. I have not seen anybody like that. Like Zayd ibn Thabit. What does it mean? Zayd ibn Thabit was a scholar. And his scholarship did not prevent him from being of nice and noble character to the people outside the home. And to his family inside the home. Let your scholarship and claims of knowledge, let it not prevent you from being an honorable person outside and being an honorable person inside the home. I hope that these narrations are clearly in Allah. We will continue from Hadith 287 in our next class. I think it will suffice for us to stop here so that we can attend to some of the questions that might have been compared. Abu Yusuf, Bismillah.
First question says, if someone did not remember to say Bismillah before starting ablution and he remembered while on Salah, should he stop the prayer to start another ablution?
Well, if he had started the Salah, if it was something he left deliberately, that is not right. It depends on the position he holds on this matter too. Al-Imām Ahmad reported a hadith, and that hadith is from the hadith of Abdur-Raūf, where he said, alayhi salatu wassalam, that La salata liman la wudu alam. The one who has no wudu has no salah. Wala wudu liman lam yusalla. The one who has not said Bismillah, he has not mentioned the name of Allah to commence his wudu, has no wudu. The first issue is that is this hadith authentic? And the correct view is that the hadith is authentically this hadith of La wudu liman lam yusalla. That there's no wudu for the one who has not mentioned the name of Allah is an authentic hadith. The correct view is that the hadith is authentic. And the correct view, inshallah, also that I view appropriate is that the view of the scholars who hold that it is compulsory, it is something you must say because it makes not you sihhati al-wudu. It establishes the correctness of wudu to be invalid. The wudu is not valid unless you say Bismillah. It also shows that the individual, if he hasn't said the Bismillah, he should go back to say Bismillah at the beginning of the wudu. And one major lesson is that each and every one of us must pay attention to his wudu. Don't discuss politics and forget to say Bismillah at the beginning of your wudu because of that consequence of having to repeat the wudu. So if we base it on this report, what it will mean is that if a person already starts the salah, he should stop the salah, go back, and then he should make his basmala, and then he should come back to the salah. I hope that is clear. And this view is based on that hadith. Allahu Akbar.
I live in a country in Europe. Presently, Isha is 11:10 p.m. Maghrib is 8:45 p.m. while Fajr is 2:40 a.m.
2:45.
Now, since Qiyamul Layl is best observed in the third part of the night, what time frame can be chosen to observe Qiyamul Layl?
Count the time from Maghrib, because the night actually starts from Maghrib. The night starts from Maghrib. Count the time from Maghrib, how many hours you have between your Maghrib and Tulul Fajr. That is the layl. And that is how to count the third of the night. To count the number of hours and divide it into 3. Is that clear about Yusuf? That's between Maghrib and Fajr at 2:40. I remember Fajr is at 2:40. And I think you said the Maghrib is 8 something, is it?
8:45.
8:45. So count between 8:45 and 2:40. Divide the number of hours you have into 3. To start your Qiyamul Layl either in the last third of the night or at the half of the night. That's your Qiyamul Layl. Within any of these times, from after Salatul Isha. Allahu Akbar.
Now, Jazakumullah khairan.
What?
Is it okay to say Bismillah in the bedroom before starting the wudu?
Yes. Say Bismillah before starting your wudu, wherever you may be, say Bismillah. And I hope that you will not go to a stinking toilet to make wudu. I don't think anyone will go to a toilet that is stinking to make wudu. So that is where you may hold back. And even that, you can say gently, even though I do not expect anyone to go to a stinking toilet to make wudu. To go out of that toilet to a place that is clean, say your Bismillah before you start wudu. That hadith is authentic. La salata liman la wudu'a lahu wa la wudu'a liman lam yusammi isma Allah. There is no salah for the one without wudu. And there is no wudu for the one who did not say Bismillah at the beginning. The messenger said so, and it's an authentic hadith. Allahu Akbar. Ameen wa ameen.
You mentioned in the last class that Salat al-Duha, the maximum number of rakah is 12 rakah. Please, can you give us evidence regarding this?
Check the hadith in At-Tibyān wa Tarhīb. By the hadith of Anas, if I remember, it's also called in At-Tibyān wa Tarhīb, and Al-Imām Al-Albani mentioned that hadith mentions 12 as the maximum. The Messenger of God alayhi salatu wasalam. Go back to At-Tibyān wa Tarhīb. Ameen wa ameen.
Abu Yusuf usually says, Salawatullahi alaykum. Is this permissible?
Well, we have this hadith here in Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, where Ali ibn Abi Talib and some of the companions were mentioned, and they followed the saying, Salawatullahi alaykum. And one of the scholars, if I remember specifically, Shaykh Ibrāhīm in a Sharh of Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, he said this is evidence that when you pray for a person, you can say to him that Salawatullahi alaykum. He read it in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. At the beginning, I think that is the reason why Abu Yusuf said it. I like the dua, and that's what comes to his mind. So I won't tell him to stop, because I like the dua, and I enjoy it. I say Ameen when he says it. If we know you to say it, we need to when we need to. The ulama says it's permissible to say that dua to a person. The wife can say it to her husband, the husband can say it to his wife, according to that life. Allahu Akbar.
Salawatullahi alaykum ya Shaykh.
Ameen about it.
Can we go home with our regular gathering classes after Maghrib, having observed Jamu?
The ulama advise that we do fast and go home. Is it clear about it?
Ya Shaykh. My 7-year-old daughter sustained an injury. Please, I need to have for Allah's shifa.
May Allah grant you God's hands up, and the rest of the Muslims who are in such a difficult situation require our dua, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has got His mercy upon His place to provide these people hands up.
Now, is it permissible to communicate during Salah, like raising voice or snapping finger to stop the toddler from doing something?
We should avoid it unless it becomes extremely necessary, and it's not much. When it becomes extremely necessary and it is not much, and if it is from the things that when we do them, it will help our concentration in Salah. Ulama refers to that as harakat yasirah, small kinds of sort of the movement you make in Salah. It may not be exactly part of Salah, but when we make that movement, it will help us regain sustained attention during Salah. They say that it is lawful. You remember when the Messenger of used to carry his daughter, Zainab. He would carry her in Salah. He would drop her when he makes ruku and sujood. He would carry it again. Carrying a child is not part of Salah, essentially. But that's a movement. So that's from Haraka Yasira and Salah. And that's the aspect, one of the aspects. for other kinds of business. You can carry and do this better. Drop carry. So it's not the difference. As long as it does not dominate the activity in that sense, becomes the dominant in the person becomes easy. Because Al-Imām Ash-Shaykh in At-Tibyān, he mentions al-Ishtighāl wal-Ishtighāl bi-ghayri as-salāh huma mubtilāt. So mubtilāt as-salāh is the best people other than salah. So that's why they say it's harakat in the prayer, just some slight movement that does not become the preoccupation of the praying person. Allah. This is about evaluation. Can we start that today? You said every question you want to ask?
From our people listening on Telegram, they are asking if someone can snap pictures on phone.
Anything that involves making images. The ulama are decided regarding its permissibility. Making image, whether you make it with a phone, whether you make it by drawing it with your hands, whether you make it by carving it, whether you make it by the means by which you make it is not the issue. The issue is you have made an image. So, and the view that I am so convenient with, and Allah built that because of its strength, is the view that it is not lawful. The view that making images is not lawful, because those narrations, we are not talking about the means by which the images are made. They are talking about abstract, absolute prohibition for making images at all. So that's the view that I hold. Whether you make it with your phone or with the camera or with the hand drawn or you carve it or you whatever. Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned that the Musawwir, the one who makes an image, he makes the image. That's why it is all tasweer. If you make it with your phone, it is tasweer. If you draw it with your hand, it is tasweer. If you do it with a machine, it is tasweer. For water. So this is not lawful. Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned that from those who will be most severely punished on the day of Qiyamah are these Musawwir. إن من أشد الناس عذابا يوم القيامة المصور. From those who will be most severely punished on the day of Qiyamah are those who make images. It is a Musawwir. The one who snaps with his camera, Musawwir. The one who uses a phone, you are Musawwir. The one who does 15 shots of human pictures, you are Musawwir. You fall under that hadith. And many of the scholars in the past and in the present too hold this view. So the means of making the picture is not what the image is not what matters. Making the image at all is the intent. May Allah protect. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.